Welcome to my Cosmic Diary, a space where I show how spiritual experiences move through this human life. Here, the mystical meets the mundane. Today, I am welcoming a woman whose story is written all over her chart. Charlotte is a certified life coach, a yogi, an author, and a mother of three. A woman I connected with instantly over being awakened through motherhood. At the top of her chart shines her Leo sun, in the house of purpose and of public service. A soul that came to lead through warmth and through showing her authentic, heart-led self. But all this fire is held inside of a bubble of double Libra energy. Charlotte has a Libra moon and a Libra rising, giving her the ability to understand others before they even understand themselves. And behind all this softness is actually a hidden power of a 12th house stellium, in which both Pluto and her moon are holding hands together in the sky on each side of her ascendant. And with both Pluto and the moon so close to her rising sign, she is actually a water being in disguise, deeply intuitive and transformative. And today, throughout her work, she is helping women to remember their own authenticity, to reconnect to their own balance and coming back to themselves. And that is actually the journey that she has walked herself. So, with that being said, welcome, Charlotte.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And I'm really, really touched and honored that you welcome me this way in a moment in my life that it couldn't be more aligned and clear. Thank you for welcoming. I'm so happy to be here with you today, really.
Yes. And thank you for being here and sharing your story, which is such a beautiful, beautiful story, because the first time that we connected with each other was actually about being awakened throughout motherhood. And what you shared with me then truly stayed with me. And you have mentioned that becoming a mother has been such a big part of your journey. And you have written also a book about this, The Path to Deliverance.
Yes.
So, what do you feel that motherhood changed that nothing else could?
For the birth of my first son, I really wanted to give birth naturally. So I had put really these high expectations of how I wanted to give birth and how I wanted it to be. And yet, when the moment arrived, I was frightened to the core. When I started to get the contractions, I was literally trembling. And I was like, how am I going to handle this? How am I actually going to give birth to a child without, because I want to do it without an epidural. I want to do it naturally without anything. So I wasn't prepared in a way. And I just didn't have that. In a way, I discovered that I didn't have that strength, or I wasn't trusting myself that I was able to do it. Birth went well. Like, I did have an epidural in the end, and it was actually necessary at some point. So I said, okay, let's just do it. And it went well. It was smooth and it was beautiful. And I was very grateful for the way it happened. The afterwards was hard. And it was a difficult journey for me. I went through many difficult things, whether it's for breastfeeding and feeling very alone and having a child who was crying a lot. And my friends around me who were also having babies, like, oh no, me, it's fine. And it's going like this. And no, she's sleeping. And I'm like, oh, why? Like, why? What's going on? Why me? Why? And it wasn't easy. It was really hard to navigate. And I felt very alone, really alone and misunderstood, and as if I was failing. So that in itself was a huge lesson. And it was really hard, really hard. And then I got pregnant for the second time. I was pregnant with a little girl, my daughter. I already felt very different within myself. I was also in a different part of my life. I had my company, I was working, I was very active, and I was doing prenatal yoga. And I was going quite a lot and I loved it. And I really felt within my body that something was happening. When I went to prenatal yoga, and the teacher was amazing, I could feel that the more I would get into my body, the more I would understand how my body basically reacts to my emotions, thoughts, and it changes everything. And I gained trust. That experience, that birth experience for my daughter was an awakening just in itself. The
Mm,
way everything happened, life was showing me, you can do it. This is going to, you can do it. And I felt so, I was actually in my prenatal yoga class and I was doing a stretching exercise and suddenly my water breaks. And I'm like,
oh, wow.
is this happening? And I kind of discreetly get out of the room and then I go to the toilet and then I come back to see the teacher and they were like, they were relaxing. So I was like, I don't want to make any noise. I was like, I'm going because my water broke. And she looks at me like, what? Why didn't you tell me? I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. Like, don't worry. And she said, do you
Mm,
need help? Do you want? I'm like, no, I'm going to walk home. I'm not far. I'm going to tell my husband and it's going to be fine. I was in a state of relaxation or trust with my body. And
mm,
so I felt that trust. And I started to already feel that I was in possession of my own capabilities already with
mhm,
my power. And I felt so different. Like it was basically black and white or dark and night from a darkened day from the first birth experience or the way I felt within. And so I was like, wow, well, I'm going to follow that and I'm going to trust that. And
mhm.
everything went so smoothly. I got home, told my husband, okay, our son was aware, he was with us, right? This is going to happen tonight. I said, I'm going to have a bath. Like, I need a bath. I want to keep this kind of relaxation. Had a bath, went to the hospital, arrived there, rang on the bell, and the nurse looks at me. I was like, peaceful. And she was like, are you sure you're going to give birth? I'm like, oh yeah, it's now.
Yeah.
And it just happened. And I literally, within 3 hours, it just happened. And I gave birth basically not alone, obviously. The team was there, but they were just like peeping through the door and saying, is everything okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I gave birth naturally without an epidural. And the sensation or just the realization of what I had accomplished with my daughter, because I spoke to her when I was in the room in labor doing my stretching exercise and continuing my prenatal yoga. I was telling her, we're going to do this together. We're going to do it together. And we did it together.
That's
And
beautiful.
everything was just so magical. And there was this kind of bond with my daughter where, yes, they put her on me and she immediately just like went to my breast and started to breastfeed. And I was like, okay. So it really brought me to the realization of one, our bodies are amazing. Just
Mm,
every, like it actually happens almost on its own if you trust. There's the pain, but it's just the state of how you manage your panic, how you manage the stress, how you trust your capabilities, and how the pain is hard at some point, but it's also a signal. It's helping you. Now is
yes.
the moment to push. Okay, I'm doing it. No, it's so it does require a lot of trust and I guess courage, which I was willing to face.
Wow, that is beautiful. And how you moved from the first birth experience, where basically you thought you were prepared. It is also very difficult to prepare for something that in this lifetime you have not experienced yet. So probably, like if I speak for myself, you were like searching for external information, books, courses to prepare you for birth. And but in that whole preparation, and then how you had that beautiful journey through your yoga practices, through like really becoming in tune with your body,
Mm.
to the second birth, like of truly surrendering into your body, the connection to your body. It sounds like there was such a form of calmness over you. It truly sounds magical.
Mm.
And if you think about magic, because you are also known for keeping the magic, like your podcast, your Instagram, what was the first moment in your life that you felt that you truly experienced magic?
I think I don't think there's really something specifically, but it was when I created my Instagram account, Keeping the Magic, I didn't do it. I've had this account for a while. And It was a moment in my life where I probably wasn't in a good spot. My family was growing and I was a mum, and my dream was to be a mum. And I always wanted three children. And I was, in a way, my dream was coming true. I was planning on having my third child, and it felt good. It felt peaceful and it felt really good. And I felt, oh, I'd love to share that life is basically enjoying those little moments throughout the day. And I was really in that spot where, oh, I'm going to make myself a coffee because that's what I feel like right now. Oh, there's a beautiful sky. You know, when you're in the street and then it's autumn and you look at the leaves and you're like, oh, it's beautiful. I was kind of in this state of awe and wonder and just enjoying the little details. And that's what I realized. And it wasn't necessarily a realization that I had before, actually, consciously, but it just one day struck me. I'm like, oh, even just the beauty of looking, like sometimes you've like cleaned your apartment or home, and you look at your living room because it's nice and clean and you've got fresh fruit in the basket and stuff, and you look at it and I'm like, ah, oh, this feels just so nice.
Yeah,
And just those things, like those little details that seem random and like kind of nothing, are so important when we think about it. Because
absolutely.
if we're always trying to like think of the next thing, search for the next thing, wanting a next high or a next excitement or a better or bigger, when basically we can just feel so, in a way, content or joyful in the moment with those little things in our lives. So, in a conditioned way of living and thinking. And so we just like don't stop and pause. And maybe that was it. Maybe I had time in that moment of my life where I could take a step back and pause and observe.
What you just mentioned, like being truly present in the moment, that is increasing your frequency, your state of being, which allows, when you raise your frequency, it allows more magic to come in, more synchronicities to fall into place, and to create more time and space for yourself to actually notice all the beauty that is around you. If you are just only focused on what is to come, not noticing in the moment what is actually happening around you, then
Yeah.
it's like you're almost not fully living and you're not open to receive more of that magic. So it's beautiful how that aligned together for you and how you were in that state of being to be able to perceive that.
I think because I was someone who was a lot in the future, always thinking of the next thing, always in the projection of the future, what's to come. And it was a moment where I started to realize that life was happening in the moment, in the present. And it's actually like now I get it. But sometimes I'm like, wow, life goes so fast. When life is happening now, nothing else
Mm.
is happening than in
Mm.
this moment right now. You and me talking together. That's all
Yeah.
that exists right now. And when we realize that it's the kind of unfolding of what we're living now will create our future. Obviously, it doesn't mean we can't have goals and we can't have dreams. And obviously, that's beautiful and that will lead us in a way and it will kind of have that positive pull to something, but not to be fixed in the future.
We do have goals and ideas about our future, and that is perfectly fine and valid. But as long as we are grounded in the moment itself and truly are fine with where we are at and having that gratitude, like how you described, like noticing those the beautiful sky and like just feeling like a cup of coffee, like those little moments, I think they matter so much. So you described a very like high frequency and how things were very good and beautiful. But I know that you have also been through darker moments in your life because you had five pregnancies
Mm.
and you are currently a mother of three children. And if you look at those five pregnancies, how do you feel that each one of them has been part of your journey?
Well, my very first pregnancy, which didn't go through, I lost the baby. I was 3 months and a half pregnant, and it was a little boy. And I had always wanted a boy, I always wanted a son. And so when I found out afterwards that it was a boy, it was yeah, heartbreaking. I don't think there are words for those kind of emotions and heartbreak. I think that the loss of my first child was my breaking point, in the sense that it broke me, but it broke me open. And all the suffering and all the pain that I had experienced in my life previously to that wasn't linked to this event suddenly was like, this is here and you're going to have to take care of it. And it was overwhelming. It was a lot because basically I was living this terrible experience, and I was noticing that I had all that within me that I was going to have to deal with. I was someone before, I felt that I was very balanced, that I was like healthy, doing all the things. Like, I was raised vegetarian, my parents were spiritual, I exercised and I did yoga and this. I felt, yeah, I've got things together. And when that happened, that's when I realized that was the surface level of self development or being in a good spot. At that point, I even thought that I don't need to see a psychiatrist. Why would I need to see a psychiatrist? That's for people who have problems. I was in that kind of state of mind. And when this happened, I just broke down. And basically, I didn't consciously want to handle it, but my body was saying, you have to. I seeked out to see a psychiatrist. I continued to do yoga and I tried different types of yoga depending on what my body needed. And I tried to find something that felt more aligned, because sometimes there are practices that just don't match what you're going through or your body or even just your psyche. So I tried different types of yoga and I started meditation, not too much because there was so much within. I couldn't see it all at once because it was too much. It was like an open door to all the suffering and things I didn't want to see. So that took a while, but I had no choice. I had no choice. And so I did it. And I started my inner work then, which is 15 years ago now. And I've never stopped, because when you put your first foot on that path, the door opens, you put your foot, and behind the door closes in the way then
Yeah.
it's okay, you're on this path now, and it's going to be hard, but it's going to be beautiful. And if you look back, that's when we say, when you kind of take that decision, it happens, or no matter how it kind of happens in your life, when you say, I can never go back to the person I was, it's so true because the door's locked behind you.
The door closes and another one opens, and you step through.
And I love that because it's so true. It's so true. And so it has been a very extremely challenging path in many ways. It would be too long to explain and go into the details, but I'd say there would be stages of growth, and stages where usually the growth is where events, experiences, suffering becomes very strong. When we do hear quite a lot that we awaken, we evolve through suffering more than through happiness. I guess it's true, because that is really when you're meeting within what needs to be seen. When you do that, obviously you are healing, shifting, getting rid, alchemizing. A lot of things are happening. And then you get kind of this other stage of evolution in another state or well being within yourself and in your life. And then it kind of smooths out. Okay, then life is good. And then I'm, doing your stuff in the real world and things are happening. And then, ooh, something comes up, like, oh, okay, I've got this to work through. And I've really, now with these 15 years, I really realized that it's not linear,
No.
and it is like that. And no matter how hard the suffering sometimes can be, when you have to be with yourself, when it hurts, when you have to be with your emotions and feel alone sometimes in those moments of, I'm alone with this. No one's going to come and save me. No one's going to like, oh, don't worry. No, you have to take your responsibilities and deal with this.
Okay.
And sometimes it takes time, and time is fine. There's no rush. It's not a race, it's not a competition. I want to get to this enlightened state. It's really for yourself, for your well being, your inner peace.
a lot of our evolution comes through suffering because then there's no way around it. There is no other choice than to really go through it. Your soul is basically putting you in those situations because of the evolution that will come through it. And if we have connections with others, like how you had in your first pregnancy, it's almost as if it is contracted to happen. And while you were going through that shadow work, what was the moment where you realized, like, hey, I am not the same person as before? And like, how did that show up for you? What changed in your day-to-day life because of that?
I don't think I actually realized it. I wasn't consciously aware of that. I think that is something that, in a way, is recent, if I say the last couple of years where I am. But before that, I can't really say that I was really aware or conscious with that kind of, like when you take a step back and you look at a situation from outside regarding my first pregnancy and the child I lost. I realized that it was a spiritual awakening, and that when you use the word contract, it is a contract. And this event is kind of like, if you don't believe in these things and you're new to like spirituality, or it can be kind of hard to comprehend. And there was this moment where I really felt sharing this, but I don't think I was ready, because I'm like, I don't think people who go through child loss will want to hear this, because they're going to say, oh, right, okay, great, but it's not bringing my child back. I had dreams. I met people on my path who gave me these messages, and it was beautiful. That's synchronicities of the life. But it was a contract with my son. We agreed before that this would happen this way, that he was never meant to be born, but he is always with me. And I was told twice by two different people at two different moments of my life that he was my guardian angel, and that he will always be there with me, basically, on my path. At first, I was like, guardian angel? Like, what? Because I didn't really believe in all that. But then the way the people described it, or just the way they shared it, I was like, how can they actually even know those details? And so it was really amazing. And with time, I've had so many synchronicities and things that have confirmed that. For me now, it's so crystal clear. And when I hear or I see someone who goes through that experience of losing a child, miscarriage, and who's suffering, I can't tell them, but I know that this, in a way, was meant to be for a reason, and probably for the child that was not born. They are contracts, and they are evolution contracts. We can't obviously understand with the intellect and grasp the whys, all the details, but it's just, yes. And when you know that, it does remove a huge amount of weight, suffering, heaviness.
It gives you an insight to your soul's path and how you are here, why you are here. It gives you like an inner understanding. And when you get those messages and you just feel within your body that it is true, then it doesn't matter what anyone else feels to be true because you are the one receiving those messages and you feel the resonance, you feel what is true for you.
Yes.
And I truly believe that when we are expanding our consciousness and we are seeing from a higher perspective, that we can give places to certain emotions easier and still feel them. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like you feel them still in your body, you can still feel hurt, you can feel the grief, you can feel the loss, and at the same time, you can understand it. It's like giving you that perhaps that inner balance that you were speaking of before. Your first pregnancy was initiating you on your mother's path, which is also such an important part of your journey, right? Like the mother's path. So, yes, thank you for sharing that depth and for giving also another perspective on loss and on grief. And if you think in general about your children and about the connection that you, would you say that each birth of each child has given you a next step within your spiritual awakening? As you mentioned, that it's not linear for you.
For sure. Each birth experience and each child comes with so many lessons, and the lessons that you need. And that's why I love sometimes when we hear that our children are our teachers. It is so
Mhm.
true because they really do just, one of them will trigger the parts that need to be triggered. The other will soften the parts that need to be seen or held. And it really is an energetic communication with our children. And there's this thing that I share also in my book, The Path to Deliverance, with my first daughter, because I have two daughters. Even though, as I explained, the birth went well and it was natural and the breastfeeding and everything was just like a whole rebirth and a renewal, and it was a beautiful experience. And that is actually when I noted down the title of my book. At the
Mm.
time, I said, I'm going to write a book. I don't know when, I don't know what it's going to be about, but I'm going to write a book because what I have experienced is so amazing to feel that power within, which
Mm.
is our own power, our own potential, pure potential that we all have within, when we actually get to touch that. And I think I probably even just touched a slight little part of it, and it already felt huge. I can't even imagine if we were in full potential, it would be like, yeah, too much probably. So it was amazing. So I wrote down the title and I decided to write a book, and I didn't know when, but there was still this thing where I don't think I actually bonded completely with my daughter. And I can remember very precisely, my daughter was 2 weeks old. I was running the water for the bath. I was going to have a bath with her. We were both naked and I was holding her and I was going towards the bathroom. And suddenly, I don't know, I just looked at her. I lifted her up and I looked at her and she looked at me, and she was only 2 weeks. So they're not like completely awake and everything, but still her eyes. And she looked at me and she did this little smile, and we looked at each other in the eyes. And I can't tell you, in that moment something happened, and I'm like, I met you. And it does bring quite a lot of emotion because we really bonded in the way that we saw each other. So I really want to say, and I think it could really help mothers who sometimes suffer from postpartum depression or just not connecting with their children or not feeling great and feeling very guilty, because it gives a huge amount of guilt to not feel a connection with our child. That one, it can take time. You can sometimes bond with your child 3 months later. It's fine. You meet your child when you meet, maybe it can even 6 years later, who knows? But you meet your child when you meet your child. And I think that's really important to know. Bonding isn't natural necessarily for everyone. And yeah, so that's also a huge amount of guilt that we can, as mothers, take off our shoulders, not feeling the connection, not feeling the overwhelming love of motherhood. Sometimes it's not so natural, and it's okay. And to be able to be gentle with ourselves and say, okay, I'm not feeling this. Doesn't mean I don't love my child. Yeah, you just haven't bonded or connected. And I actually encourage you, if you realize that you are kind of feeling that way, to search maybe for the connection. Maybe try and through different ways. It can be through touch, it can be through looking in the eyes, it can be to create those moments of bonding with your child. You can create them. And sometimes it can be within an instant, like me, I met my daughter, but sometimes it can be something very like kind of progressive in a process in time. And so, yeah, I really wanted to share that because I feel that there's quite a lot of suffering there.
Absolutely. Yes. And it's kind of a little bit a taboo, right? Like people don't share that openly about it. And would you say that it can trigger, can be done in order to have that connection? What is your experience with that?
Well, I guess that I was feeling something uncomfortable regarding my daughter that I didn't know, because again, everything was so amazing and it was going well. And still, I had this thing within me that was annoying. It was like this little nudge of like, this doesn't feel good. And that's when I looked at my daughter and I said, yes, I was
Okay.
probably myself withdrawing myself from actually connecting completely with my child. I wasn't obviously conscious about it because we don't know, but there was probably some kind of trigger for something I wasn't seeing or I didn't want to see or feel. And I probably did in that moment accept it. And it kind of just dissolved. And this connection happened. So it wasn't done intentionally, but it happened because I was probably willing to feel something that I didn't really want to feel, because like, oh, why are you feeling this? You shouldn't. You're a mum. You love your daughter.
And with your Pluto conjunct your ascendant, there is so much transformative power within you. It is also in the 12th house. So it is truly about bringing that unseen through transformation. And like it requires to have true authenticity and also authenticity with yourself to truly see yourself and to truly see what is within you, but also in the unseen parts of yourself and to bring them to the front. So that translates so beautifully to how you said, yeah, I had to open that box that I actually didn't want to open, but once I did, then it came to the forefront. From there, how would you say that things developed?
Oh, amazingly. Everything, our connection has always been very easy, smooth, and she's such a gentle and soft, loving little girl. She's very sensitive. She never speaks loud, she never screams. It's all in the subtle. And yeah, it's a very, very strong, I'd say, love and connection, but isn't loud.
Beautiful. So you continued your journey and you became opening up more and your awareness was expanding. Then there also became a moment that you were ready to help other women. And what was the moment that you realized, like, I am here to help others walk
Mm.
this path?
I was actually already in Portugal. We had moved, I think we were in Portugal for 3 years already. Moving to Portugal with my family 6 years ago was for me definitely a huge transformative period of my life. Now I understand 6 years later why I'm here and why I came here, because it has been extremely favorable and powerful for me to continue that path. I think that living in France and it arrived in this moment where, okay, I got to a certain point. It was kind of like, okay, not much else that can be done. And literally, just like being in this new country where there is a lot of, I do feel energetically that here there is a lot of healing, a lot of transformation that's possible with the elements and just this specific place. I can't really explain it. And it has really kind of leaped me to something much more deeper and profound, and it has been really much more magical, because when I was
Mm.
in France and I was growing, I was learning, and it was all that, but there wasn't so much the spiritual and the magical. Since I've been here, there has this been dimension that has been very different to my kind of growth and transformation. And I really feel it very clearly now. Usually it's afterwards that when we look back and we're like, I understand.
Mhm.
So it
Absolutely.
makes sense. Being here in Portugal has really opened me up to a much larger kind of way of embracing transformation. And I've gone through huge changes here within. And I think there was just this moment where I was searching for my path. I was asking, I was like, what's my life mission? What's my path? Okay, I'm a mum, I'm happy, I have the house, the dog, the thing, everything. But I felt this kind of urge of like, but I have all this within. How
Mhm.
can I just live with all this within me and not share it? Like it's
Mm.
impossible. And I was kind of asking, if we want to call it a prayer or a wish, I was asking and I was searching, I was becoming curious, and I was doing a lot of work on myself. I was listening to podcasts and I was meditating more, and I was really getting back into all that. And it felt really powerful. And then at some point, I was the book, like the book. And it came to me. And I can remember talking to my husband saying, I wanted to write a book, and we started talking about it, and I have all these ideas. And he said, well, write the book. Go on. Well,
Mhm.
we'll just start. I'm like, but yeah, but I'm not a writer. Like, why am I going to write a book? And I just started, and I felt the urge to write the book. And immediately, from one day to the other, I became this writer where I had this discipline. I was sitting at my desk every day and I was just writing, and I loved it. I love the process of writing a book. Was this little bubble of a year in my life where it was just amazing, because as I was writing, everything that I was sharing that was coming up, and then I was doing research and it was linking together. What I was sharing, I was like, oh my gosh, the synchronicity, this is crazy. And I was discovering things at the same time. So it was really amazing. And then I felt even more the urge to meditate, even more the urge to kind of go within and remember that potential, remember that power that I had felt at many times in my life when I gave birth and I had this burst of realization of our power and our potential, and basically searching that and going to go and get it and say, oh, I want that now. I'm
Mhm.
ready. I want to feel it and I want to embody it, and not just through little moments of my life here and there. I want to live it. And that's how it kind of happened, wanting to share. It was kind of natural that I was writing the book and say, oh, I'm going to create a YouTube account, and oh, I'm going to create an Instagram account, and I'm going to start doing some videos.
As soon as you found your mission, which was like the seed was the book, like
Yeah,
everything started to unfold naturally. It was not like a plan from your mind, but basically your soul sitting in the driver's seat and kind of pushing you forward, like this is where you're going. Now this is coming up, and the ball started rolling, so to speak.
every time I have planned something with my mind saying, okay, so I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, doesn't work.
No.
Now I know it doesn't work. For some, it may, but for me, does not work. If it, because when I do that, obviously there's a point where it's not aligned with my soul or my intuition or what's coming from within. So there's a point where it's like, no, come back.
Saturn, which is the teacher planet. It is showing you maturity through life lessons and it is showing your path. It's also in the 12th house. So you really learn through the unseen. You learn through your spiritual practices and through magic, literally. Like your name, Keeping the Magic, is so aligned with your chart. And I can completely understand how you say, yeah, it come like when I follow that intuition, that's when things start to unfold. And I think we all hold that power within, right? Like we all hold that inner voice, that inner intuition, literally, that if we give it a chance to listen to it and follow it, it is like things unfold so peacefully. It's almost as if it doesn't feel forceful when we plan with the mind and we say like we're going to do this, or we follow someone else's plan. I feel like sometimes when people tell me a plan and follow this and this and this, but if it doesn't truly resonate with your own inner voice, it's probably not meant for you to follow that exact path. So
Yeah.
I totally align on how you describe that. And currently you are also helping women to find their own authenticity and find their own magic. And where do you see that women have perhaps lost that, or where they could incorporate more magic from within?
Well, I feel there is more and more will and consciousness to reconnect to our intuition. And I do really feel that in a way, an awakening to how do we do this? And it's kind of hard to tell someone how to do something. I don't like to say how to do things because, again, it's so personal to our own journey, to who we are, that there is no perfect plan or secret to do that. And I promise it will work. But there are things that you can implement, understand, embody, and basically test within and see how you respond. Try some different techniques. And this is actually what I guide through my online program, the 5 keys to success, which is 5 keys to a successful and blissful life. I don't say, do this, do that. It's really keys that basically guide you through a kind of process, but that the process is your own. I give you kind of guidelines and tips, stages that start from 1 to 5, and why 1 to 5 and why 5 weeks if we do it the way I suggest. It's because then it becomes ingrained with time. Because if you just do something once, twice, 3 times and stop, it's not going to last for long, or the magic within won't happen. So consistency is so important in everything we do. And so it's also implementing how to be consistent and
Mm.
perseverant in life and with ourselves. But it's really a personal journey and progress. And basically, it's creating your own program within my program kind of thing. So I don't like to say, do that. No, 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 because maybe someone's going to say, I don't like that. And that doesn't resonate. So it is also a way of maybe showing someone that it's important to take responsibility for ourselves. Can't find the solution for you. I won't give you this secret thing that will make everything better and you'll live an amazing life. No, but I can give you the keys and you will have to be the one to be willing to open the doors.
Like you said, the resonance is not there. But if you show people how they can find and discover and explore within and find their own inner voice, that can then lead them on their own path, that is so much stronger because that is sustainable and that will stay with you forever, right? It is like an investment in yourself to truly see yourself for the magical being that each and every one of us is. And we all
Yes,
have that beautiful magic.
exactly.
And if anyone is listening to our conversation and is hearing like your transformation of having to gone through depth and through darkness and then finding your light again and having that spiral that keeps going in and out, and they are perhaps more in a dark place right now, like what would be the thing that you would tell them to find that little magic, like an easy thing for them to do?
I really think that the easiest thing that you can do is really when it feels very lonely and dark in those moments, and maybe we feel that, oh, I would need so much love right now. I would need someone to hug me. I would need someone to give me the advice. I would need, if you can, just for a second, try and feel within that love that you need or that could be comforting, healing is within you, and you can have it for yourself. I actually shared this the other day on a podcast. I do it sometimes and I do it when I need it. It's to really like embrace ourselves when
Mm.
it's hard to feel it, to actually physically touch ourselves and yeah, I need that love right now. I need that love, and maybe I do need it from someone else, but right now the only one who can understand is myself. I'm feeling it, it's hard and I'm suffering, but basically you are not alone because you have yourself. And it's as if we were like two polarities, it's saying I have you.
Mm.
So the voice, the intellect, connecting with our inner voice and our soul and kind of merging and saying, I got you. And it's hard, but it will be okay. And it may not be evident or easy at first when you do that. You'll feel awkward. Maybe you won't feel anything, but to do it again and try and yeah, relax and try and lean in if you can with yourself. That's kind of a way.
It's like connecting, like truly connecting with yourself, holding that space also for yourself, right? Like that's the ultimate version of self-love in the end. Beautiful. And if people would like to continue the magic and continue to connect with you, what is the best way to find you and to connect?
Yes, well, on my Instagram account, I'm active. I'm there quite a lot. So really don't hesitate to send me a message. Also on my website, I have a form and you can just send me an email through my website, which is charlottelogan.com.
Beautiful. I will make sure that I will put all the links in the show notes so people can easily reach out to you. And I would love to thank you. It has been an honor to have this conversation, for you to share all your magic, all your transformation. And yeah, it has been so valuable. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening. If this unlocked memories within you, or if codes returned, come find me in the stars. You will find all the links below. Let your inner light shine like the phases of the moon, illuminate exactly what is meant to be seen now.